Vince McMahon is not known for being sentimental about family, something that's clear from the way he has treated Triple H in recent months, destroying his son-in-law's creation in the form of obliterating NXT. NXT 2.0 is a joke and is not doing any better than NXT was, which says a lot because fans are usually attracted to big changes. Still, when it comes to his own son, Vince appears to not have a soft corner either. Shane McMahon has become a name that fans are familiar with once again ever since his return years back to face The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania. At the time, he was greeted with a lot of love and was seen as someone who could finally put things right in the company. That goodwill did not last, as his obnoxious run as the leader of the SmackDown roster and the fact that he put himself over at the cost of wrestlers on a regular basis said a lot. He went away again, functioning in temporary backstage positions, with him sometimes coming back to have some runs in the ring. Now that he's been released, let's take a look at what consequences this might bring. This is Wrestling Up, and here's what could change in WWE with Shane McMahon gone. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official, and also follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Unfortunately, his latest return didn't go according to plan. He was a part of the Royal Rumble match and eliminated Kevin Owens, who was one of the favorites to win. Fans were unhappy, but they were not the only ones. Backstage, wrestlers were upset as well, as Shane McMahon apparently had been the one booking the Rumble. Usually he is assisted by TJ Wilson and Triple H, but both were absent. Apparently Shane took advantage and used the match to put himself over. He garnered a lot of backstage heat due to his behavior. He apparently buried Jamie Noble publicly backstage. Something that no one took well, as Ringside News said. Vince had no choice. Shane created chaos, had everyone in an uproar, pissed off everyone in the Rumble, openly buried other producers, and was changing things that Vince wanted. Vince had no other choice but to send him home. However, what happened with Shane might not be limited to what happened at the Rumble and could be related to previous issues. According to WrestleVotes, this Shane McMahon story could ripple effects for years to come. It goes beyond anything that may or may not have happened Saturday night. While fans wait to see what the ripples are, there are quite a few consequences that are plain to see. While it's Vince McMahon's willingness to give family a chance in this company that helped him get Shane involved, it's clear that when it comes to the business side of things, Vince is not that sentimental. He has given his family members such as Stephanie and Shane chances in the business. Shane went away for a long while, but Stephanie remained and became integrated into the business side of the company, working as WWE's chief brand officer. However, Shane went away wanting to try his own hand at business. He succeeded up to a point before he came back to WWE, from making partial appearances to becoming the chief officer of SmackDown, and then later a wrestler during his feud with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Things just kept going with him, slowly but surely turning him from a fan favorite into someone that fans couldn't stand. His last feud with Braun Strowman was one of the worst of all time, despite how good the final match was. Now, Vince McMahon has proved that he's more than happy to let family members go as well, if they don't do what he wants. This should also be a message to Triple H, as he is the other person who might not be brought back into the fold unless he's careful. With Vince McMahon being 76, there have been serious questions about what's next for WWE. He was always going to be in control of the company, or so fans thought. Although anyone who recently looked at Vince when he was on screen could tell that the WWE chairman was no longer the man that he once was. Thanks to his aging and the change in the way WWE has been doing business recently, there has been a lot of talk about the WWE chairman retiring. One of the favorites to take over, according to many, was Triple H, but the man has clearly fallen out of favor with his father-in-law. The other name is Nick Khan, who is expected to become the next chairman thanks to the work he has done since coming to the company financially. Another name many were considering was Shane McMahon, but now with him being released, it's clear he has even less chance than his brother-in-law of taking over. Of all the people, Stephanie might actually be in the most favorable position to take over, other than Nick Khan. Shane McMahon appeared in the Rumble, but this was not going to be his last outing. He was supposedly scheduled for multiple appearances, leading to even performing at WrestleMania. With him fired, that's no longer the case. While this is good news for fans, it might not be great for at least one superstar. If Shane was slated for a run, it was going to be against a star who now has no opponent heading towards Mania. Kevin Owens was the name that many were talking about, but the other name mentioned was Austin Theory. Theory arrived on the scene and has been taken up as Vince McMahon's protege. His feud with Shane would have been something worth seeing. Now fans will have to make do with whatever story WWE comes up with for Austin. When Shane was a part of the company, he was known for taking opportunities away from others. Of all the people who could have won the Saudi Arabian tournament, it was Shane McMahon who used The Miz to get the best in the world trophy. Since then, he has betrayed Miz, and has made a lot of other wrestlers suffer when there was no need. He took a lot of time away from the likes of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, while also taking up space on Survivor Series teams and WrestleMania shows. According to Fightful, the morale in the WWE locker room seems to be at a decade-long low, thanks to the last-minute changes and mixed reaction to the Royal Rumble. Wrestlers have said they've never felt less hurt in the company, with a quote from a source within the company reading, "If you see a complaint with merit and in good faith about something that lacks sense, logic, or continuity, I almost guarantee we have complained too. It just never changes anything." Firing Shane McMahon in the midst of this was obviously a move to appease some of the locker room. Over time, though, satisfaction won't last with this, and it's likely that even firing him had just a temporary effect. Hopefully, this is the first in a long line of decisions that are more focused on that talent, so they are used in a better manner. Without Shane in the company, it brings the question of who has more say. When Shane was there, he was known for pulling a McMahon card, which was because he was the son of the WWE chairman. However, with him gone, others will have more say. Someone else whose space in the company was recently reduced was Triple H. He was shoved aside after his heart issues and is still not back working on NXT. The brand was changed to NXT 2.0 as his invention was reinvented by his father-in-law. Now, with Shane McMahon gone, Vince will be looking for a voice that he can trust to advise him. Although it appears he is not in favor with the WWE chairman, things can change, and as a result, this makes a lot more sense when it comes to bringing Triple H close to him again. With Triple H talking to Vince, the chairman will listen to his family, as even though he's not sentimental, it's known that the man does not really trust anyone. This could in a way be Triple H's way back into favor with the chairman, and might lead to better things for the company. Shane was known for taking control of events when he was backstage and making it about himself. While he was not always like this in recent years, his behavior when booking angles left a lot to be desired. Over the years, Vince McMahon has often been seen as someone who has taken over production himself. Wrestling fans are familiar with reports of the WWE chairman arriving to the arena on the day of a show and then tearing up the plans and the scripts completely to rewrite them. This has often led to some inconsistencies in the way the company functions, as they've not been able to build stars to the proportion that Vince himself would like. It is, after all, telling that the Royal Rumble winners this year were Brock Lesnar, someone who was built in the ruthless aggression era and then helped by the UFC, and Ronda Rousey, who owes her reputation almost entirely to the contribution she made to the UFC. There was a time when WWE was more than capable of building their own stars, but that has been missing lately. Shane McMahon has taken over things quite a few times, and this might have led to frustration backstage. Jamie Noble was one of many casualties, one of those who were not present at the Rumble, but has been universally praised for all his work as a producer, is Tyson Kidd. Reportedly, some women passed up the chance to appear at the Rumble since he was not producing. Now, with Shane out of the way, hopefully some of Kidd's frustration with the company will ease up and lead to him appearing more. A few weeks ago, I had heard that TJ Wilson had grown frustrated. The reason I didn't run a story on this is because I had heard conflicting things from people that work with him, that are close with him, the company itself. So one person who told me the information said, heard he wasn't there, he didn't show up, wasn't happy with how things were going, and he's no longer there. Whether Kidd returns or not, Shane's departure leaves a gap that someone younger and more promising with better ideas can fill. Shane McMahon has been a booker, producer, and has a lot of say in how things are booked, sometimes taking things too far to his own detriment, as seen in the Rumble. Now that Shane is gone, there is one thing he could do to make headlines, more than anything he could do in WWE. Shane's always been somewhat of a prodigal son, returning at times and trying to garner the praise of his father. Vince McMahon seems to be a difficult dad to have, and this might be something that pushes Shane to an edge. He's always done extreme things in order to make his father happy, but his next move might be something that is no longer for his father's admiration. He will hardly be happy being removed from his current role in WWE, so if he is added to AEW's team and then becomes a part of their promotion, it would be him metaphorically spitting in his father's face. And McMahon being a part of AEW would be the ultimate coup by Tony Khan. He would not offer a deal with any sort of creative control naturally, but Shane might be willing to show up his father for much less, given they're probably not on the best of terms following his release. Imagining Shane in AEW is exciting, as despite his age, the man is more than willing to risk his body. In AEW, he would have far more of a chance to do it, and the number of stories that he could tell with him are endless. Dax Harwood even tweeted a picture with Shane, so there could be an olive branch for the young McMahon in AEW after all. If this ends up happening, not only would the future of AEW and WWE change, but the entire pro wrestling industry would be altered. And this was what could change in WWE with Shane McMahon gone. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.